Hi, you are about to engage in the guidebook unit, The Witch of Blackbird Pond. The purpose of this video is to help you understand a little bit about the Puritans and the Quakers, two groups of Christians that both traveled from England to the New World, and the disagreements and tensions between the two groups that will come up as you read the novel, The Witch of Blackbird Pond. Be sure you have your handout and something to write with for the video. Two religious groups, the Puritans and the Quakers, helped to set up societies in the New World of America in the 1600s, but they didn't exactly get along. In fact, the Puritans mistreated the Quakers constantly, even going as far as executing some of them. What could cause these two groups to disagree so violently? In the novel The Witch of Blackbird Pond, you will meet characters from both groups of people. Understanding why they disagreed will help you understand some of the conflict between the characters in the book. So, who exactly were the Puritans? The Puritans were a group of Christians who migrated from England in the early 1600s. They came to what is now Massachusetts in the New World because they were being persecuted or mistreated in England. You see, about 100 years before they left, the King of England had broken away from the religion of Catholicism and formed the new Church of England. The Puritans liked the Church of England, but they wanted to make some changes. The King of England harshly punished people who didn't follow the Church. So the Puritans decided to leave England and set up a new colony where they could practice their religion freely. So what did the Puritans believe? What was life like for a Puritan? The Puritans believed that the Bible should serve as a guide for how to live one's life. They were very strict about implementing rules that they thought the Bible called for. They believed that a good Puritan should be hardworking, reserved, and dutiful, meaning they always did what they needed to. For instance, there were strict rules about clothing people could wear. Lace and other fanciness was not allowed, and a lady's sleeves had to be of an appropriate length. They also believed that children should be quiet, work hard, and obey everything their parents said. The Puritans had a paternal society. That is, the men held positions of power in the government and the church, and women were expected to work at home. Finally, the Puritans thought that attaining a good education was very important, especially if you were a boy or man. They required that each town have a grammar school to teach reading and writing, and they founded Harvard University. Let's take a look at an excerpt of an article you will read in the guidebook unit. As we read, be thinking about the question, what can we learn about the Puritans based on this reading? The Puritans believed that the simple way was the quicker and better way to God. Ministers wrote and spoke without using complicated words, distracting references to unknown books, or quotations in foreign languages. They also favored plain black garments over the fancy, colorful robes of the Catholic Church. They held services in small white chapels instead of in elaborately decorated churches. Pause the video and answer the question on your handout next to stop sign number 1. Press play when you are ready to continue. I learned from this excerpt that the Puritans seemed to prefer plain, simple things over fancy items. For instance, they preferred to write and speak without using complicated words. They wore plain, black garments and worshipped in small white chapels. The Quakers, also called the Society of Friends, were another group of Christians, although their beliefs and practices were pretty different from the Puritans. They also left England in the 1600s to set up a colony in the New World where they could practice their religion freely without being persecuted by the authorities or the people in charge in England. William Penn, one of the Quakers who came to the New World, helped to set up the colony of Pennsylvania. This is where most, but not all, of the Quakers settled. So what did the Quakers believe in? Well, the Quakers are known for being a very peaceful, tolerant community. They believed, above all, that all people were equal. For this reason, they had good relationships with the Native Americans, whom they traded with and treated fairly. They also believed that women and men were equal. Women often had roles in the church, which was unusual at the time. The Quakers are also known for having strong anti-slavery views, believing that everyone should be able to practice their religion freely, and being strong pacifists, meaning that they were against war and violence. Finally, Quakers were relatively relaxed with how they interpreted the Bible. They believed that nothing should come between a worshiper and God, and therefore their church services often consisted of a congregation, or group of people, sitting silently and searching for the inner light. For the time period, this was considered very strange. People were not being told by a minister or priest what to believe or how to interpret the Bible. Now you are ready to consider some differences and similarities between the Puritans and the Quakers. One similarity that we know of is that both groups migrated from England to the New World to escape persecution of their religion in the 1600s. One difference is that the Puritans followed the Bible in all aspects of their daily lives, and the Quakers were less strict in how closely they followed the Bible. Pause the video and follow the directions on your handout at stop sign number 2. Hit play when you are ready to continue. Are you ready to check your answers? Another similarity you may have come up with is that both groups practiced a form of Christianity. There are many things you may have written down for their differences. For one, Quakers allowed women to have jobs in the church, while the Puritans only allowed men. So what was the problem? Why did these groups clash or disagree? Well, the Puritans believed that everyone should be a part of their religion. They punished people who did not attend their church or follow their rules. The Quakers, on the other hand, thought that everyone should be able to practice whatever religion he or she wanted. Because of this, the Puritans were particularly upset by the way that the Quakers followed the Bible loosely and didn't rely on a minister to lead their sermons and guide their decisions and families. They felt it was necessary to punish the Quakers for this. And Puritans punished Quakers severely. They were quick to judge many Quaker women as being witches, and they even executed 4 Quakers. The picture on the left shows Mary Dyer, who began as a Puritan but converted to become a Quaker, walking to her execution in Boston. Now you are ready to summarize the reasons that the Puritans and the Quakers disagreed. Pause the video and answer the question on your handout next to stop sign number 3. Hit play when you are ready to continue. The Puritans and the Quakers disagreed because of their differences. Even though the Quakers were peaceful and tolerant, the Puritans strongly believed that everyone should be a part of their church and follow their rules. They didn't like that the Quakers chose not to have a minister to guide them as they worshipped. Understanding the beliefs and rules of the Puritans and Quakers, and the disagreements between them, will help you understand the characters and their conflict in the novel of the unit, The Witch of Blackbird Pond. When you finish this video, be sure to turn in your completed handout to your teacher.